All right, welcome back to Genius. So let's talk more about DOM manipulation. Let's see how we can actually manipulate this DOM. All right, let's see how we can do stuff with this DOM that the browser has created for us. So the first thing we'll take a look at is how do you select DOM elements, okay? Let's say because if you want to manipulate the DOM, you need to select the elements that you want to manipulate, okay? So you select them, then you can now do whatever you want to do to them. So how do you select the elements? If you have an HTML page that has some divs, some spans, some H1 tags, all right, how do you select them to actually work with them? So that's the first thing we take a look at here. So one of the methods you use to select, get an element in the DOM is the method called getElementById. by ID. So this is a method that is available on the DOM API, and you have to give it the ID of an element. Remember that HTML tags have IDs. So if you have an ID, all right, if you have an element that has an ID, you can use that ID to get that element. So when you do this, you actually get the element. So look at this code here, document.getElementById. Sorry about that. And the ID is main title. So this will get the element that has that ID, and we get this title as that is the element. So we can now work with it. All right. So now let's take a look at this. So let's go to so if you look at this code here, this div has an ID. All right. This div has an ID. So if I want to get this div, all right, all I have to do is I will call the document.id on it. So basically, we can actually still do this. We can actually write some scripts here. Okay, so we can say const, I can call it div, okay, I can call it container because that's the, I can say container is equal to document dot get element by ID. Okay, get element by ID. So what's the ID? What's the name of the ID? The ID is container. All right. So if I console.log, all right, we are going to get this container. All right. But I think I would be working with the console because we can just do a lot of things there without coming back here. So when you run this code now, all right, I'll run on the browser, go to live. When I run this code now, I'm going to get this. So if I open my console, get to the console, you can see I got this ID, I got this div. Okay, you see I got this div here. So this is how you get an element by ID. Okay, so you can actually use the get element by ID, pass in the name of the ID of that element, and you get it. You can also get element by class name. All right. See, you remember that elements can have some classes. All right. So when your element has a class, so you can select elements with a specific class and it will return HTML collection. All right. So let's do this. Let's go back to now let's add some classes. I am not actually going to write the CSS class here, but I can say, let's say I have this span. I have this span that has this class, and the name of the class could just be what can I say? What can I say? I don't know what name to give it. Oh God. Okay, I can just what am I doing here? Okay, I can just say select. I can just call this, I can just give it a class of ID. I can also come up with paragraph here. And in this paragraph, I can say this is beautiful. Then this paragraph, I'm also going to give it a class of select. So now, if I remember, of course, you can have elements that have the same class. A lot of elements can have the same class. That means they'll be having the same styling. So if I want to get to all the elements that have this select class, I can go on and I can go back to the browser. I can say, I can say const, oops. I can say const, I can just say HTML, it's going to return an HTML collection. and is equal to document. It's going to return something that looks like an array because it's going to get more than one. Okay, because it is expecting to get more than one element. So if I say get element, document dot get element by class name, all right, I'll pass in the class name, which is select, all right. Then if I do this and I'll say HTML code, now you can see we have this HTML collection, and it has the span and it has the paragraph. Okay, so if I go on and say do something like this, all right, it returns dot. If I say dot node name, all right, you can see. So you can actually work with this anyhow you want to. Okay, so you can get elements by class name. It will return something that looks like an array. The HTML collection is not actually an array, but it looks like an array, but you can convert that HTML collection to an array. Okay, but basically you can also work with it as an array. Okay, so if you want to loop through it, HTML code dot for each right now, because we don't have, it is not an array per se, we cannot work with the for each. So but I can actually convert this thing to an array. I can say array dot from, then I pass in this HTML collection. I just want to let you know that this HTML collection, you can see, it's not a different thing now. So I can say dot for each, and I can work with it as an array. So if you get it, whenever you get this HTML collection, it is basically not an array, but you can convert it to an array, but it's an iterable. Okay, you can convert it to an array by using array.from, and you pass in the HTML collection to it, and it will return it to convert it to an array. So if we do this now, you can see we have it as an array, as a pure array here. Okay, all right. So get elements by class name will return all the elements with a specific class name. All right, so it will return HTML collection. So you can convert this HTML collection to an array and work with it. So when you do this, you can actually get all the elements that have that class. You can also get by tag name. All right, you can also get by tag name. This one will select all the elements with a specific tag. Let's say you want to get all the div tag. You want to get all the span tag. You want to get all the paragraph tag. All right. You're going to use get elements by tag name. Most of these, their names. You say the first one we did was get element by ID. All these ones are now coming get elements. So whenever you see this get elements, instead of get element by, you know that it is actually giving you something like an iterable. Okay. So let's go and see this get element by tag name, how it works. So I can actually delete everything here, and I can say document, document dot get elements by tag name. Okay. All right. And if I do this, I'm going to pass in, let's say I'm looking for div. All right. You can see is returning. Okay. Is returning an empty list. We have a div here. Come on, we have a div. Don't we? We have a div actually. Why is it returning an empty? Hmm. Is it returning? I've got, sorry, okay. We have a div here. All right, we have a div. So why is it returning an empty? Okay, let's go back to the to our browser. Get elements by name. Oh, sorry. I'm using get elements, but instead of get elements by tag name. I'm sorry about that. It is get element by tag name. Okay, yeah, okay. That was a mix-up, okay? So you can see now we got HTML collection again, and you can see we only have one of it, okay? So that is it, okay? So you can get elements by tag name, all right? So you also have, you can do query selector. That's what I have been using before now. The query selector will only return the first element that matches a CSS selector. Remember CSS selector that we did in CSS, okay? You can pass in any CSS selector here. It could be ID, it could be ID, it could be tag name, it could be class name, it could be any CSS selector at all. But it will return the first element that matches it. It will not return all of them. Okay, if we try to get query selector by class name here. Okay, let's go and try something. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear and I'm going to say document dot query selector. All right, and then I'm passing a class. Remember, we have that select class. All right, you could see that it returned the first element. But remember, this select class, we have two of them. We have two elements that have this select class. So this is this CSS. What you will pass in here is a CSS selector. If you pass in the ID selector here, all right. Okay, sorry, the ID is container. Sorry. You can see it got this guy. All right, so you can pass in any CSS selector here, but it will return the first one, okay? But if you say query, selector, oops, sorry. If you say query selector all right, it will return all of them. All right, if you say query selector, it will return the first matching element. But if you say query selectors, oh God, what's this? Okay, if you say query selectors, let's go and try that the class selector again, the select that we have. You can see it's returning two. It's returning the two elements that have that. But if you say query selector, it will return the first one. All right. But if you want to get all of them using a CSS selector, you use the query selector to get them. Okay. So these are the things you need to practice this thing. For you to understand what I'm saying here, you need to understand CSS selectors. We have class selectors, we have the ID selectors, we have the tag selector, we have a whole lot of selectors. So you have to know CSS selectors for you to understand what we are doing here. All right. So you can also use the query selector, just I have shown you here. It will set all the elements that matches the CSS selector. Okay. So you can use it to query all the button class, and you get all of that, just like you have seen me do. Okay, so now how do you change the text or the HTML content of an element? All right, after selecting that element, you might want to change the text, you might want to change the HTML content. So one way you can do that is using the text content. This changes only the text. So let's go ahead and sorry about that, this is not what I'm looking for. Let's go ahead and let's do something. We have the paragraph. All right, so let's use document dot get element get element by tag name. But that our paragraph doesn't have. Okay, so let's go by tag name, and the tag name is P. But remember, this will be returning an array. So we can just go for the first one to return HTML collection. Sorry about that. So you see, it returns this. So I can say dot text content. All right. And I say the text content is now equal to hello world. Just guess, look at what is going to happen. As soon as I hit enter, I'm using I got the element. Remember, the elements by tag name will return a HTML collector, but I am getting the first one, which is this paragraph here. So, and I say dot text content. I'm using this text content to change the value. So I can, if I hit enter now, you can see it has changed to hello world. All right. But if I refresh, everything goes back to normal. So if I also want to, maybe I want to get the text content, I could just do something like this. Instead of doing this assignment, I could see, all right, I can use this to get it. When I say dot text content, I can use it to get it, and I can use it to set it. When I do it like this, it's going to give me the text content. But when I do it like this, when I say is equal to and I assign something, it's actually going to change it's actually going to change the value. So this is how you set the test, and this is how you actually get the test. So you can also change the inner HTML. All right, let me show you what this thing looks like. The inner HTML is this. So if I go ahead and delete everything here, I can say document.getElements by ID, and I'll pass in the ID container to get that to get our div container there. And if I say dot inner HTML, something is wrong. Get element by ID. I should be getting, let me check what is wrong. Okay, so why? Okay, dot inner, I should be getting IntelliSense. Oops. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. All right, I'll say const div. I think I already have this div. Okay, I don't think I have this. I don't think I have it. All right, so I will say const div, and I'll say is equal to document dot get elements by ID, and the ID is container. All right, and if I do this, if I say div dot inner, so if I do div dot inner HTML, all right, now look at it. If you want to get it, just call it like this. This way, if I say, okay, look at what, if I can actually save it as a variable, I can say HTML, all right? And when I do this, I will have, if I console this HTML here, I will get this. So this is how you get it. The inner HTML is actually the content of that element tag, but I can also reset it. I can say div dot inner HTML is equal to. Do you understand? I can actually just change it totally. I can say something like this, h1. All right, I can say beautiful world. All right, then I will do this. So if I do this, all right, you can see I have changed the inner HTML. It used to be hello world, this one that we have here, but right now I have changed it, adding, I gave it another HTML tag, and this is what we got. Okay, so this is how you actually get the inner HTML, the content of that element, and you can also change the content of the element using the inner HTML property. Okay, so this is what they're also doing here. Document or query selector, we get the H1 tag, and then we change the content, all right, or change the inner HTML. So this is how you work with it. One thing is this, you have to practice this thing. As I'm doing it, do your own and work with it, okay? Just play around with it. Okay, so you can also change styles, all right? Every element has the dot style, the style property, and then once you get that element, you can change the style property. So if you want to change the background color of that element, you can actually do style.background color. And let's go and do some CSS style here. So here, I got my div. I still have my div, but I want to change I want to change the background color. I can say style div.style dot background color. All right. And then if I hit enter, it is actually empty. You see, it doesn't have any background color. But if I go on and say background color is equal to, I now say red. All right. And as soon as I hit enter, guess what? You see, the background color has turned to red. I can also say, I can do the color. Okay, look at what I want to do here. I can also say style.color. This is the font color, and I can say is equal to white. As soon as I hit enter, you can see the font color has changed to white. So this is how you actually work with it. All right. Once you get the element, there is this style property on it. Get the style property, then and this style is actually an object. This style is actually an object. Okay. And it has some properties on it, the color, the background color. The same thing you do with CSS styling. That's what same thing you do. So you can programmatically change colors. All right. Do some stylings here. So this is how you manipulate the DOM. You can also add and remove classes. All right. There is this, every element has this class list property. All right. So you can add a class using the add method. Once you get that element, you can use the add method to add a class to it. You can also use the remove method to remove the class, and you can also use toggle to turn it on and off to a particular class to remove it or on it. So let's go and do something. I'll go back to the code and let me write some CSS code here. All right. So I will write style, and then I'm going to create a class and I'll call it, let's call it select. Okay, let's try this our select, and let's actually what am I doing wrong? Okay, so I could say um, color is red. I think we could just go with that. Let's just go with that. Okay, so now we actually, okay, we have this, okay, let's create another class. I will call it, whew, what am I going to call it? This is what just came to my mind, jam. All right, so this jam could be blue, color could be blue. All right, this color could be blue. All right, so we are going to toggle. We are going to add, remove, and toggle color here. So let's go to the browser. So we have some classes. All right, and what's happening? Our class should be showing. We have yes, we have this class select. It should be reflecting. Our span has this class select, and what am I doing wrongly here? Okay, didn't I save? I did save. Okay, okay, what is wrong? I did save, so come on. Is my code wrong? Oh, have I forgotten how to write some classes? Now, this is how you write a class. Select. What is happening? Hmm. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This has this class now. So what is happening? Okay. Oh my God. I really don't know what is happening to my code. Okay. Hmm. Now sometimes it can be like this. My brain is just frozen. My brain is just frozen. I don't even know where this error is coming from. Okay, so this red is not, oh, it's no wonder. I'm sorry. This is not supposed to be in double quote. Oh, my bad, my bad. I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm sorry about that. So it should work. All right, all right, all right, all right. Oh my God. This is it. This is computer programming. Sometimes your head will just be jammed up and all right. So now we have our class. Okay. So we can remove, okay, we can add another class. All right. Let's say I want to get um I want to get this div. I think we still have that div. Okay. So I'm going to get the div. I will say const div is equal to document. Remember, you have to get the element first before you can work with it. Get element by ID, and the ID is container. All right. So here I have my div, I can say div dot class list. All right, this will give us all the classes that this div have, and you can see this div doesn't have any class yet. All right, it doesn't have any class yet. So if I go on and say div.class.add, all right, I'm now going to add jam. We have jam as a class. As soon as I hit enter, remember jam, the color is blue. It will change everything. You can see it changes it. Now, because of this other, the span and the paragraph have their own class, that is why they weren't affected. So you see, I added a class. All right, I added a class to this div using the class list.add. So I can also, oh yeah, let me get document dot query selector. Let me use query selector. So I will select all, and I just want dot select. So I want to remove this particular. I'm going to get this document. So I'm going to let me take the first one. All right. That's the span. So I want to remove the select. I want to remove that class on this. So I'll say dot class list. All right. Once you get that element, dot class list will give you the list of the classes. So I can say dot remove. Look at it, dot remove. All right. Then I'll pass in the class name I want to remove. I'll say select. All right. So look at it. This whole code, I'm using it to get the elements that have this class select. Then I'm taking the first one, which is the span element. Then I'll say dot class list. This is called method chaining. All right. Class list dot remove. So once I hit enter, you see that this span will no longer have that class. You see, the class has been removed. All right, the class has been removed. Okay, so now there's something we also say called toggle. Toggle will remove if they look at what toggle does. Toggle will toggle it, will toggle off and on. All right, it toggles off and on and off. So if the class is available, it will remove it. If it's not available, it will add it. So let's play around here. So let's play around. Let's go. Our div still have some our div still have the jam class. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, instead of doing add, I'm going to do toggle. All right, I'm going to do toggle. All right, so since the div already has that jam class, it will remove it. All right, look at it. It has removed it. All right. But now, if I call toggle again, it will add it because the jam class is no longer available. So once I hit enter again, it adds it. If I hit enter, if I call it again, it will remove it. If I call it again, it will add it. All right. So that's what it does basically. All right. So you can also create and remove elements. All right. You can create elements, add to another element, or add to the DOM structure, or you can also remove it. So you have to do document.create element. So let's go on and do something. Now I have to clear all this. So I want to add another, I have the div. Okay, so I want to add another element to it. So I will say const, I will say maybe I want to add a UL, and another list is what I'll say document dot create elements. All right, and what element do I want to create? A UL. All right, so now this UL that has been created, all right, I can now, after creating it, I have to append it to the div. So I'll say div dot append. You use this append child. All right, you use this append child and then append the UL that you just created. You can see the thing is this, because this UI doesn't have anything, you're not going to actually say anything because it doesn't have anything. So maybe if I say div.append UA, all right, look at, if I hit enter, this UA has been added. All right, so now let us add an li to this UL. All right, so we have added this UL to the container, to the div container. So let us add li. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do something like this. I will say ul dot append child. All right, this code is going to be crazy here. Okay, let me create the li first. I will say const li is equal to document.create element. All right, what element do I want to create? I want to create an li. Okay, so I've created an li. Now this li, I'm going to add test to it. I'll say li dot test content. All right, what will be the test content? I'll say we are here. I'm sorry, this is what's just coming to my head, right? And I don't know. So now this li I have added, just look at what I'm doing. All right, I have added a test content to it. Now I'm not going to say ul dot append child. I'm going to append the li to this ul. So once I do this, you're going to now see it. Wow. Do you understand? So look at what I did. Let me explain to you what I did here. First of all, I created a UL, all right, on another list. So after creating it, I used the append child to add it to this div container. Now, after appending it, I now created an li, added a test to it, all right, then appended this li to this UL, because without, if there is no li in the UL, you will not see anything. So as soon as I now created the li, added a test content to it, then appended it to the UL, and we got this. Okay, so this is just beautiful. So you can also remove, first you create element and you use append child. Two of them must go hand in hand. After creating it, if you create it and you don't append it to any place, it will not work. But after creating it, you have to append it to another element so that it will show. All right. You can also remove it by using query selector. Sorry, by using the remove. All right. So if I want to remove, this UL, all right, I will just say UL. Since I have it, I will just say UL dot remove. As soon as I remove it, guess what? Oops, sorry. All right. As soon as I call this method, guess what? So the UL will be removed alongside the li, because the li is part of the UL. So as soon as I hit ul.remove method, now you see that we are here will be out. You can see it has been removed. So you use the create an element, then use the append child to add it. All right. Then if you want to remove that element, you actually have to get that element. All right. Then you now call the remove method on it. This is just so beautiful. All right. So you can also set and get attributes. Also, once you get an element, you call set attribute on it. So if you want to, if I say div dot set attribute, all right, I will call which attribute do I want to set. I could say class. Class is an attribute. And what is the value? I could say, we already have jam there. I could say, I don't know. I just say Kel. I don't know what I'm typing here, but I'm just short of words. So once I do this, all right, I hit enter. I have set an attribute, and this is the value of the attribute. So if I hit enter, it is also, if I go to the elements tab and go to the body, you can see now this div has this Kel class that I added. Okay. So yeah, and if I want to get the attributes, I could say div dot get attribute. If I want to get an attribute, I'll say div dot get attribute. Then I'll pass in the name of that attribute. I could say class. All right. Of course, you can see it has an attribute. All right. And there's scale. So now you can set the attribute, giving the attribute name, then the value. And you can also get the attributes. Okay. I'm passing the attribute name. So in the next section, we'll be going into what we call event-driven manipulation. So we'll be talking about events and event listeners. So we'll be going into event-driven manipulation. So you can actually do a whole lot with events. So the next section, we'll actually talk about events and event listeners. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next class.